Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host with the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the Yard Streams for another edition of the Raw Rewind presented to you by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. It's not just me, Patty P here in the Yard Streams. I am joined as always by the best of the West you can't forget about Sarah Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey yo.
Hello.
Hey. Hi, how you doing?
Please
Was it you who told me? Was it you who told me you don't like it's the Tyler Bate? Yeah.
I don't like it.
It just feels very like Disney parade. Like I'm supposed to be a child enjoying a Disney parade and like a princess or one of the Buzz Lightyear, Woody's, whatever Pixar characters dressed up like I'm like, hi, how you doing?
Yeah, feel free to stop at any point.
Oh no, it's okay. All right, we'll do another wave. All right. Well, what's going on? How's things?
It's going.
It's just going. Like we're just.
It's just there's a lot. There's just a lot going on.
There is a lot going on. I totally understand.
I went to the Patriots game.
You did go to Pats.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah, they lost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But it was really cool to see Drake May. It was really cool to see the Patriots. It was cool that I got to sit as close as I did. There was like a WWE moment, I would say, because I think it was when the Patriots got hit with a roughing the passer, and it was a ridiculous call. And my section, because I was on the visitor side behind the bench, so 90% of us were Patriots fans.
Yeah.
Someone started chanting bullshit, and so like our whole section started doing it. So it like literally sounded like it was like a wrestling event. And I don't remember who it was, but one player like turned and like looked at us and was like egging us on. So I was like, this is kind of
got
funny.
Acknowledged.
Yeah. So I thought that was funny.
No, that's awesome. It's awesome that you got to go to the game.
Yeah.
And like props to you for going like by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Like, I know I didn't make any friends. I was in between two girls and they wouldn't talk to me. So I was just.
Well, who were the two girls? Like, what are they? Were they friends or they just?
No. So the girl to my left was there by herself. And then the girl to my right was with a group in front of her. So
and she got the shit tick.
Yeah, and she wasn't a fan of football. Like she had no idea what was going on.
Okay, so she was the third party.
Yeah, but it was like neither one of them were like interested. So I was like
they're going out afterwards.
It was just it was unfortunate, but I was like, oh well, whatever, I guess.
Hey, you got to watch the Pats play live. I couldn't tell you the last time I went to a Patriots game. I think it was a year or two ago. I haven't seen Drake May play live. So
well, it's only been like 8 games, so
I don't remember who started last time I went. I think it was Mac, but injured. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The Patriots.
I saw Mac play. In 2022, they beat the Patriots, or the Patriots beat the Cardinals. This is only the second time I've seen the Pats lose.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah, because I've been to 3 games at State Farm Stadium.
Okay.
Jimmy Garoppolo started the first one because that was Brady's suspension. And then Mac Jones started the second one. And then this one was Drake May. And then I saw one at Gillette, Brady played. And 2 in Seattle. One was Matt Castle. The other one was Tom Brady.
Matt Castle play live? That's actually.
Yeah, 2008 season, Brady tore his ACL. So, yeah, it's interesting. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks.
You've seen a lot of quarterbacks.
For the Patriots, yeah, ironically. which is weird because we had
Yeah.
the same quarterback for 20 years. But I saw Castle, Brady, uh, Garoppolo, Mac,
Yeah,
and
you've
May.
seen the whole bunch.
Just not Cam, but he played during the COVID season. So,
Yeah, no one, only the cardboard cutout fans, if you remember those. Those are the ones
hmm
who got to witness him live.
yeah, yeah.
But
But
well,
anyway,
let's hear from the peeps, Sarah. The little peeps who tune in and week out, and I thank
yeah.
you for doing that. Sophia watched
What's
Saturday
that?
night's main event with her boyfriend and went crazy quietly. That's an oxymoron.
hmm
Uh, when Pat McAfee returned, I was hyped. I'll agree with you, Sophia. I was hyped as well. I love to see Pat McAfee back on the desk. It reminds me a lot of this era's King, Jerry the King Lawler. And I say this era because instead of him being obsessed with the puppies, McAfee is just loud. Some might
He
say
also likes
I
to speak in innuendos, which is kind of
that's
annoying.
I mean, what Jerry the King Lawler did that for
I know, but that
the
doesn't mean
entire.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, I agree. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
then yeah, that's yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
everyone
I'm just
has
like,
a
I think when
different
you're
cup of
younger,
tea.
you kind of are like, but it's like as you get older, it's like, okay, we get it. You're
There
talking about
just is a
sex. Like,
place.
it's
Yeah,
like, ha
like
ha
there is
ha.
just a place. I don't know. I'm a kid. I still laugh
Yeah,
very,
I'm just,
very
meh.
hard. And I'm just a dude. All right, Sarah. Nathaniel was popping. Um, your Lakers actually are same fandom as Nick Khan is a Lakers fan. Found that out today.
Interesting.
Bernard, what's popping? See you after NXT when I kick your ass in Madden with my dudes, the 49ers. David was popping. Lenise, hello. Thanks for the follow again. Are we ready for Christmas? Like, no.
No,
No.
I'm not even done with the tree in my bedroom, and I haven't finished my Christmas
Oh.
shopping yet. So I'm just behind.
I haven't finished my Christmas shopping, but a lot of my shit's very easy.
Well, that's why
Um
you get Amazon. Use Amazon Prime, and it comes
that's
tomorrow.
that's what I'm saying. It's Amazon, but it's also like I do a lot of gift cards.
Mm-hmm.
My family, we enjoy going out to dinner. Like that's one way we, spend time together, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So to get a gift card to a restaurant isn't like, oh, I didn't know what to get you, whatever. It's like, no, treat yourself. Like go out for the night,
Mm-hmm.
like on me. And
Mm-hmm.
especially with the amount of connections I have in Boston with restaurants and chefs and whatnot, should be
Yeah.
helping some peeps out.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. Um, but yeah, no, Bernard, I'm not ready for Christmas. Final boss here was popping. Rainy days. Good to
What is
see you
up?
again. Unhinged main event, Fro. Happy holidays, my dude.
Oh,
To
my
you
chair is
too.
locked up, so I can't recline.
Oh, I can't. I'm
Yeah,
wired in. If I
mine.
if I go, then
No, mine's locked. Like it did that, so that's annoying.
yeah.
Oh well.
Um, are you ready for the move to Netflix?
Yes.
Casino SmackDown strain on the USA channel. I missed it. Yeah. I'm ready for it. It
Mm-hmm.
feels like we're just in that weird limbo period. You know what I mean? Like it's good. It's not terrible.
My boss is gonna
Like
try to go.
he should. It's gonna
I'm
be
jelly.
hella expensive though.
It's very expensive, yeah.
I mean,
But
I okay. After WrestleMania, I have had a different thought process when it comes to attending big shows. Okay. Not in the sense that I would not go if given the opportunity, but I imagine what it would be like watching WrestleMania at home with the commentary. Like we got there night 2, match 1 is Drew versus Seth with CM Punk on commentary. Well, CM Punk comes out, we're going fucking ballistic, but
not me, but yeah.
well, yeah, I get the point. But the whole point is that he came out and was part of the show with us, the live audience.
Yeah.
But we have no idea how he was on commentary, which is his entire job for
Do
the match,
you I don't know,
except for the end.
you might not remember, but I think it was like in the 2010 era. You used to be able to get the headphones so that you could hear commentary in the audience.
No way, really?
Mhm.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I wasn't going
I
off.
never did it cuz I just didn't care, but yeah.
Yeah, no, for like that's the thing for the Raw on Netflix because it's Netflix. It's going to be the streaming show. I want to watch it from Netflix.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't care to be there. As for a PLE or another live event like that, like yeah, then I'd go. But the Netflix seems like everyone should be watching on the app.
Yeah. I agree.
Uh, we got no more.
Okay. We ready to
We're
start?
ready. Let's rock and roll, Sarah.
Okay, so I want to talk about this. I made a TikTok. I made a TikTok about it. So once we move to Netflix, I will be updating our uh background here.
Yeah, you got
Um
kind of have to.
so everybody went wild when the Netflix, like a trailer for Raw moving to Netflix was shown during the Jake Paul fight. Uh and the logo was horrible. Everybody hated it. It was atrocious. It was like, who decided this? I think we talked about it. It was
We
terrible.
did. I think we did mention it.
And so it felt like it was universally hated. And I was like, all right. I mean, I wasn't the only one, but when we talked about it, I was like, okay, well, we know how in tune Triple H is with the internet, and not just Triple H, obviously WWE in general. They're very much on Twitter. They look at
Mhm.
social media and the reactions, and sometimes they change according to what the fans are saying. And it appears
Mhm.
that that's exactly what they did, because we saw officially the new logo via Twitter yesterday. Triple H posted it, and it's nothing special. It's not anything that we haven't really seen before, but it's so much better than what it was. So I'm happy that they listened to what we had to say, because whatever the hell that first one was
Yeah.
horrible.
No, this one it was really solid. I like the color scheme in it too.
Yeah,
You
with the
know,
white.
the white in it.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go with the times, and this logo feels like they're going with the times, especially with Netflix, and they're really playing to the brand. I love it.
I think
I like it.
I don't know. I'm fine with it because they changed the SmackDown logo quite a bit. And I feel like Raw has always been pretty consistent with what it looked like. Like there wasn't a ton of variation over the years. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I think that it's fine. The SmackDown
The
one has
font.
changed a lot, but
The
Raw
font
hasn't.
has changed.
Yeah.
The font has not changed with Raw. Like the
Yeah.
outer logo of it, however you
Yeah.
wanna that has obviously evolved,
Yeah.
but the font and lettering and color scheme has not, and this is where we've seen a little bit of a difference. Like, they're actually
Yeah.
doing a little bit of a change.
Yeah. So I think it's good. It's nice to see. I think, you know, for me, I think if it remained that ugly logo, it's whatever, like we would complain about it. But I think that the biggest thing that people are kind of overlooking about this is that it feels like we're being heard a lot more than we ever have been. And I'm not saying that the fans necessarily dictated them changing the logo. It's possible that, maybe they saw it and they didn't like it, or that wasn't the final logo or something. You know what I
It
mean?
had to be a
Like,
placeholder. That's the only thing that makes sense to me
mhm.
because they wouldn't just reveal the Raw logo for this brand new debut on Netflix if it
Mhm.
was just during the Paul Tyson fight.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
obviously, they're gonna hate it because it's probably the one that Netflix drew up for
Yeah.
their advertising.
Yeah. But I do think that it's cool that it feels like they're listening to what we have to say. And obviously, they're not going to do that for everything, because we've talked about that before, where you can't listen to what everything fans are saying, because
No one
otherwise you're not going to win, because
you're
obviously
never
people are
gonna win.
fans of people and others are not, and so people are going to want to see one thing and others don't, so you can't cater to them. But something like this, I feel like, is pretty cool. So I'm glad that they changed it. Um, and yes, we're gonna talk about that, Aaron. Don't worry. All right, moving on to what actually was happening during Raw. We had
My
CM Punk
guy.
kick off Raw, unfortunately, and he was quick to address the Seth Rollins drama that has been brewing. I would say for months, but obviously the last couple weeks. And we heard a lot of the same stuff from him that he's already said about Seth being a fan and just like a copy of him, blah, 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 blah. And eventually Seth comes out, but comes through the crowd, which Punk then uses to insult him as well, being like, yeah, that's where you should be because you're a fan. Ha ha ha. Rollins tries to then play to the crowd too, be like, no, I want to be with these people, like, blah, whatever. They go back and forth, as I say here. They exchange a bunch of pleasantries, but it gets real the second that Seth calls him Phil.
Yeah,
That
once he
was
said
when
Phil.
the switch went off with Punk. He was like, oh, hell no. And he starts marching towards Seth, and then they start brawling all over
All over the garden.
the audience and around the ring, in the ring, everything. And we then get to see what happens backstage. Seth goes up to Adam Pearce and says, blah blah blah, whatever, because Pearce is not happy about it, obviously.
I mean, the
So they
chaos.
end up making it official. We find out later in the night that we will finally see Seth Rollins versus CM Punk on the January 6th premiere on Netflix. So before we get into all of that, what did you think of their segment? Because I was seeing it's so funny how we can all watch the same thing and have such different interpretations from what we saw. People think that
Way to put it.
Punk cooked Seth. Then there's people that are like, oh, Seth killed it. It's like there's not a lot of middle ground here.
No,
But
yeah, there's no middle ground. I don't think Punk crushed his segment or his portion because he had the tough job of trying to lay the foundation for this. Like, we all know they hate each other, but what's the real reason why? And the fandom stuff, like, yeah, that's more of an ego thing, blah, blah, blah. But it really comes down to stuff that you can't, um, really bring to light on screen. So you got to do it in more creative ways. And that's what Punk was doing. And he was getting a lot of critique for him stumbling over his words. I even had my buddy who I watch Raw with, and we play Mario Kart together. Um, he was even asked like, Pitts, what the hell is going on with Punk? And I'm like, just like he's trying to make this as real as possible and have it not come out robotic. And if it came out, everything was perfect, then yeah, it would be. But
you
he
know,
didn't crush it by any means. Like, I think he just did fine, and Seth did a lot better than him and reigned supreme in it because what he said pushed the button that we led to the feud, like to the fight. I mean,
mhm.
and what he said kind of stung a little bit more, calling him out. Oh, I want to see if the hype is real from the fans side of things.
I've had
And then
more
it's
main
not.
events at WrestleMania than you ever will.
You're like, yeah,
That
just
too.
daggers like that. Like,
But the thing that's interesting,
that's what's
right?
going to build this.
Yes. And that's the thing. Like I tweeted this last night is it's interesting, I think, to see Punk go into another feud that is so ego driven. Because if you look at his feud with Drew, it was all ego. That was all it was on Punk's side, is what I mean. Yeah. Because there really wasn't a basis for that feud to go on as long as it did, or for it to be as good as it was when it started, because Drew just decided he was going to take credit for injuring him at the Rumble and ending his Mania dream. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then Punk just like, oh, I'm pissed at you for saying this. And then it just kept going and whatever. So this is
Mhm.
interesting because it's another thing where it's like revolving around Punk being really good and like blah, blah, blah. But I do think the reaction from the fans, as we talked when we talked about this last week, is going to be very interesting to watch, because there is no real bad guy in this situation from the fans' perspective, and they were definitely flip-flopping during this segment. You know, they were very excited that Punk came out and they were cheering on the things that he was saying. But then they also started singing Seth's song when Punk was out there, and they were very supportive
Oh,
of
they're
Seth when he
playing
came out.
they're
Yeah.
playing to
So
Punk,
so that's what
like
I'm saying. It's like it's going to be interesting to see how the fans respond to this, because as we said, or as I said last week, that might dictate the direction that they go in. Because I don't think, I mean, if it were up to me, Punk's the bad guy, right? Because I don't think that what Seth is saying is that controversial. It's nothing that hasn't been said before. However, people are very supportive of Punk, so they're not going to want to hear what Seth is saying, because they either don't agree with it, they never felt that way, or they don't want to be reminded because Punk is back. So I don't care what he did in the past, right? So
mhm.
like, there's going to be people that are going to turn on Seth because of it. And it's going to be fascinating in my eyes to see how that transpires over the next several weeks or months, because you assume this is going to go on longer,
Oh, this is gonna
and
go on way longer than Netflix. Way
see
longer than
if
Netflix.
that shifts the storyline, at all. You know, if like, if the crowd turns on Seth, are they going to lean into that? Because that is such a wrestling thing. Obviously, they're not going to try to force something down your throat if the fans aren't accepting of it. So
Yeah.
I am curious to see. So I think that's like an under layer of this story that I think people are not, they're not acknowledging it. You know, it's like that's
No,
gonna be
yeah.
cool to watch. But as I said, they did make this into a match for the Netflix premiere, and in my eyes, I don't love that idea. We kind of touched on this last week, but it's official now. uh I don't know that I love that they're doing it on the Netflix premiere instead of a PLE. The only way that I would kind of be more understanding of it is if I get what they're trying to do. Obviously, I'm not, I like, from a business perspective, I get what they're trying to do, but I also think it, business perspective, it kind of doesn't make sense. But I think that this match can't end cleanly. This is a match that has to end in a DQ. It needs to be like, someone needs to mess it up, something. It needs to be something that allows them to continue this. Like, we cannot see a proper winner out of this match at all, because this is a match that we have all been waiting for years. This was what we thought we were going to get at WrestleMania 40. So if we're talking like Seth Rollins versus CM Punk is main event potentially at WrestleMania worthy, it's bonkers to me to consider that they're putting it on a Raw. And I'm not trying to discredit the impact of Raw going to Netflix, but at the end of the day, it's another episode of Raw, you know?
Nah, you
So
see, that's where
hold
you're
on. But I do think that they're, the way that they can make it make sense is if they do something that makes this continue on, so that it is something where it could be revisited at WrestleMania, if that, if what they do allows that, you know, because this
yeah.
has a big PLE feel, and I get that's what they're trying to do with Netflix.
It's exactly
And
what they're
I'm
trying to
not
do on
saying it won't
Netflix.
feel that way, but we don't know what the Netflix premiere is going to feel like until we watch it. So otherwise, it's like, okay, it's Raw. You know, like when you think about a big match like this, you don't think about it playing out in front of you on Raw. That's my point.
Okay. I am on the other side of things
I know.
and think it's brilliant because the only way to legitimize Raw on Netflix is to put on PLE type matches for its first one. Yes,
That's fine, but you
exactly.
also then are
That's
putting, you're putting the standards pretty high when you can't deliver on that every single week.
so it's funny you mentioned that because I had a thought here while you were royal rambling yourself. Is you said obviously they it can't end cleanly, which
It
I
can't.
do I do agree to a point. You know, what about a time limit draw? Like I have like that would make this so good. And when was the last time you saw a draw in WWE?
I guess we were, I mean, It didn't seem like they were going to add anything, but we'll have to see because obviously they did a double taping and I have not seen anything. I haven't seen any spoilers for next week's Raw,
Oh,
but that means that they would have to do something next week to make that make sense to add a stipulation. You know what I mean? And I don't know how they would add that specific one into it.
well, no, there's every match has a time limit in wrestling. Like that's the whole like every
Well,
match like
yeah, but we're not supposed to know that.
exactly. But how could we like it could still happen though.
I guess, but I still think it. But you're still agreeing that it shouldn't end cleanly at the end of the day, because like I would say a draw is still not clean. It doesn't. It's not a winner and a loser.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
but the draw, like I just
That means that no one won and no one lost.
exactly.
So that's
But
what I'm saying. That's what you have to do. No one wins is what I'm saying. Like that is the in my brain the most sensical way for this to be able to continue.
no one wins, so you get a draw. I don't know.
Yeah, and then
We'll
they
see.
can that builds up for more for like the Rumble, because um then that's the thing that I love about the Rumble when there's these types of feuds going on, because then the idea of them meeting during the Rumble match, like, oh my god, I love
The
that.
anticipation.
That's why I want Drew and Punk to meet in there. I would love for Drew to end it for Punk. Just to get like one last like ha ha ha, you know what I mean? Um let's see. Oh, did you favorite that?
I did want to come. I want to go back to it.
Okay, I'll skip it then.
Yeah, Crom Knuckle.
Um
I'm bringing up your uh comment
okay, Final
when we
Boss.
talk about
Oh,
him.
okay. Final Boss says it makes sense if they have something bigger planned for Punk for Mania. I guess Punk Roman and Cody Rock for Mania. I don't know that we're doing Punk Roman, but not
I
yet.
don't think you want to hear my big
Do you?
idea. I don't think we're doing any of what's being talked about right now for Mania.
I don't even. Okay, so this is the thing. Cody Rock seems like it makes more sense now than it maybe did like 2 months ago. I think that was what we were all jumping on immediately after Mania this year because of what happened on the Raw after Mania. And but The Rock has been very scarce since Mania. Only showing up at, what was the PLE that he showed up at?
Bad blood.
Bad Blood. But that was very open-ended. You have no idea why he was there, what he was saying, who he was there for. But there also hasn't been a lot said. Like, the current rumor is that he's not locked in for Mania, and don't even get me started on that topic, okay? Especially Final Boss. Final Boss does not
I'm
want to hear
not
what I have
doing
to
this.
say.
We're no.
But what I'm saying is I think they're not planning right now. Like, if that rumor is true, they are not planning anything for Cody involving Rock. There's nothing involving The Rock right now, because if they don't have him signed on yet in December, and as we know from the Mania 40 documentary, going into Royal Rumble this year, they already had like all of Mania 40 booked. Like, they were like,
Yes, The
these are our
Rock main
plans.
eventing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So no, The Rock was not main eventing when at their
That's the
plans.
joke,
Okay.
Sarah.
Well, I thought you were trying to trick me. So anyway,
No.
so if they if they're continuing that, that means that The Rock is not going to be a part of their plan right now because they don't have a commitment from him. So I think that's what is interesting about how this Mania could go, because it could be Mania without The Rock, and then it's like, okay, so then where do they go from here? What that opens, I feel like, a lot of possibilities for other people and stories.
I don't want to be put a damper on things, but Cody isn't even champion right now.
Yes, he is. Stop it. Stop.
I'm just
Final
saying
Boss does think that if it
he's
ends in a draw, they'll whine. I don't
well
think so
fuck him.
necessarily. I also don't know that
Fuck him.
I think Seth fans would be happy if he won. Punk fans would be happy if Punk won, and they would be sad if they lost. And I think that a lot of people, because I saw this in the replies to the match announcement on Twitter, A lot of the responses were like, why isn't this on a PLE? This is a Mania match. Like, a lot of people were kind of disappointed about it. So I feel like if they are genuinely disappointed and not just trying to, oppose what is happening for the sake of doing that, they might be happy that it ends in a draw because that means you get to see it again. You know what I mean? Or ends in a disqualification. Hello, Mr.
Good to
Anderson.
see you, pal.
Oh, the Chrome Knuckle. Hey, Chrome Knuckle. Is this who? Have you been in here before?
Who the
If you
fuck
are, because
is
I think you're the
here?
one that argued with me.
What the hell is that? Who's that actor? What do we?
No idea. We don't need the final boss. Bet on the stars today, not the stars of yesterday. I don't blame you. I don't disagree. I don't think that we necessarily
Final
need.
boss is a loyal fan of the show. I
No,
think
he's
we do need
talking
the final.
about The Rock.
Sara, that's
Oh my God! Stop it. Okay, we're moving on.
One
Chrome
day you
Knuckle
will
is. I know,
laugh.
but there was a Chrome Knuckle in here that I was
What
arguing
TV
with
show?
months and months ago. Do you
What
remember?
TV show was it called? Was the show called Chrome Knuckle?
Chromin Knuckle? Chromin Knuckle?
Ramen Knuckle?
I am The
Sounds.
Rock. I am Dwayne.
I am DJ.
I am DJ. Okay, so we'll come back to the comments in
Ooh,
just a second.
ooh,
So things are getting a little bit
a
tense
little
within the Judgment
spicy in the
Day.
kitchen.
And that was very apparent in the Judgment Day layer. Things are a little spicy, it seems, between Liv and Dom and Finn specifically. I loved, what did he say? When Liv was saying, "Oh, you're gonna be fine. Like, we believe in you," and then Finn was like, "Thanks, Liv," or like whatever.
No, he did give a little like,
Yeah,
oh, thanks, Liv.
yeah, and I
No,
was
and then
like,
it said
"Ooh."
when Raquel also comments saying when you trust Finn, you win when you trust Finn. And that
Mhm.
was also a little dig. Like there's
Did you
some
see the
digs going on.
Did you see the follow up video of Liv and Dom reacting to them losing backstage?
Shit. I think I did, but
Did you?
forget about it
Okay,
because
so
I
Dom said
have.
Finn should have listened to Finn. That's what Dom said. Finn should have listened to Finn. Finn should have trusted Finn. I was like, you know what? This is not cool. So
I
anyway,
saw Finn's reaction to him at the end, but yeah.
yeah. So anyway, Judgment Day. I don't know what's gonna happen with Judgment Day, and I think I'm not taking anything on the surface because when the original Judgment Day looked like they were going to be on the outs when Rhea and Damien were still in there, I think that things were not what they seemed. You know, it's like, okay, we thought that this was going to happen, but then we kind of talked about, oh no, Finn's involved in this whole thing with Liv and Dom. So I'm kind of not going to just sit here and be like, okay, Finn and JD are getting ousted or something, because like maybe that's what they want us to think, but that's not what's going to happen. Like that seems like the most obvious that Finn's going to leave or break out or do something. But I don't know that that's necessarily what we're going to get because they keep tricking us with these
I
different
think Dom's gonna
storylines.
kick him out, or I don't think here's the thing. I don't know if how they're gonna do the kick out or who's the next leader, whatnot. But Finn needs to just go away on his own for a bit and be a singles guy. That's what it seems like we're getting, and we're on the path to. But yeah, I saw this. This was disrespectful. That was
I don't think,
so
okay, I
disrespectful.
don't think it's disrespectful because
No, his booking, not the comparison, but
oh,
the road he's going down. It's disrespectful because Dolph Ziggler was also disrespected in how they handled him, and Finn going down that road is quite disrespectful to who Finn Balor is as the wrestler. However, he is in better hands
yes.
than Dolph was.
Well, you hope because
I see light.
Triple H hasn't
He's a
been
black and
great.
gold guy.
I know, but he
He's a
also
black and gold.
hasn't been super great. I mean, look at how he was just booking him as a tag team champion. That wasn't great.
So to me, that doesn't seem. I mean, okay, all right.
So
Doesn't
yes, I do agree that it's possible that we're getting there. And the good thing for Finn, though, is that he is a guy in his 40s that doesn't look like he's in his 40s. Same thing with like Dolph Ziggler. Like they're very fortunate that they look like they're just in their 30s or at their prime, you know, in their 30s.
chiseled.
Yeah. So that
Chiseled.
works because obviously when you look at old school wrestlers, like when they were in their 40s, you fucking knew they were in their 40s.
Ric
So
Flair
that
was in his 40s for about 40 years.
who?
Ric Flair was in his
Oh
40s
yeah.
for about
No,
40
he's been like
years.
60 for like 60 years. He's 173 years old
I'm not
actually.
kidding you. When I saw him in early 2000s, I was like, that man is 55 years old.
No, I
And then
thought
it was
yeah.
2010 and he was still wrestling. I'm like, okay, so what is he,
Yeah,
like 60 now? And it's
I
like
know.
70. It's like, how is he still wrestling?
I know. So I do think, yeah, something needs to go on with Finn. I'm just a little bit concerned that we might not ever see him get to the peak again. It has been quite a long time since they let him do that. It's just crazy to think that it's been what 8 years since he was the inaugural Universal Champion, and
That
like
is
everything that they've
crazy.
done with him since then. It's like how have we gotten here? You know, I also don't want him to become a baby face because that's another thing that people are like, oh, he's going to leave Judgment Day and become a good guy. No, Finn
No,
thrives.
he's not doing a good guy
No,
right
well,
now.
they
He's not.
whatever, but he doesn't
They're
thrive
not
in that
doing
role.
it. He's not. So
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens because I'm not exactly sure. Richard thinks Judgment Day will stay together until they face the White Six at Mania and then they implode. Interesting. Chrome Knuckle, yes, I believe he does deserve way more. That's the thing. Like, we're gonna talk about the main event, and then I'll have my rant about them. But yeah, I agree. He's very underrated and disrespected. I would love this. Okay, similar to like when he went back to NXT for the second time. That motherfucker was on a tear.
that
He was
Pele kick
so good.
to Ciampa or Gargano. Oh,
I know, he's so good.
chills.
And that's the thing, when you know what he's capable of and then you see the shit they're making him do, I'm like, brother. Very frustrating. Anyway, okay. Moving on to
They're not.
Drew McIntyre. I can't think of a name like Finn Balor for him, so that's unfortunate. But anyway, after seeing what happened between CM Punk and Seth Rollins at the top of the show, Drew approaches Seth backstage and is like, "Hey, bro, like we feel the same, bro. We both hate CM Punk. We both feel the same about how people are just like ignoring that, and you feel that about Roman. Like we are two peas in a pod, my friend." And Seth is just not into it whatsoever, which bummed me out because I loved the idea of Seth and Drew teaming up together because that was the current rumor that was going around. I still like it. I think we're gonna revisit it. We're gonna revisit it.
Drew, Seth, and KO. Just their faces plopped on
The new
Shield.
someone said the new Shield.
No,
the new Shield. I'm not saying they should be the
No.
Shield, but how? No, anti-establishment, like I don't even know how to. They would be the good guys in that situation, in my
you know what
opinion.
it is?
Okay,
I
but
agree with you that yeah, it'd be cool, but you know what it is? It's the people labeling them as the new Shield is
okay,
what pisses me off.
yeah. So I don't mean that, but I mean
I
like
know you don't.
them
I'm
wreaking
talking to the
havoc
fickle
on the
pickles out there.
roster because of how they are responding to Roman and to Punk.
They could be
And
doing something like that.
they should
Like,
be.
I think they like if you think of the details, they like low key are.
But if you think about it, these are three guys going after the three top guys in the company, right? The three of the faces of the company: Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Like you have to make something out of this, of the three and the three. Like we have to see something come together at one point. I would like to think, because it's too good of an opportunity to pass up, I feel like, because it's very much rooted in things that we've seen plenty of times before, where they're either like anti-establishment, the bosses, whatever.
They're the anti-heroes.
Yeah,
They're the
so
anti-heroes.
it would be interesting to see if that happens. But Seth is not interested, as I said. I do think this is something they're going to revisit, though, because I think there's a reason we saw this. It wasn't just to see it and then be like, oh, okay, that's it. No, I can see Seth eventually getting to that point where he wants some backup or whatever. We might even see Sammy get involved again because bro can't keep his nose not brown, and he just keeps getting involved in things.
So eloquent, so well put, so
Yes.
eloquently put.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they try to team up or something. We might see Sammy and Punk versus Drew and Seth or something.
Like, yeah, I saw comments here, the Crom Knuckle, Rollins, Drew, KO, Roman, Punk, and Cody.
Hell yeah, brother.
That's your Elimination Chamber main event. Like,
Hell yeah.
that's your Elimination Chamber main event.
Imagine that, though. That is so good in my book because it's like that is the epitome of the new era right there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It really
I'm into
is.
it. And it really puts them all on a pedestal, but I think it's more important to see the heel team being put on a pedestal. AKA Rollins, Drew, and Kevin Owens. Because I think those are guys that deserved to be at the top of the mountain over the past 10 plus years. Granted, obviously Drew was not there for a lot of that, but you know what I'm saying. But they took back seats to other people, including Roman. And then once Cody came back, they took a back seat, So I think that is interesting. I would love to see it.
I'm just in so much thought of where they could go with this, because now I'm on thinking of they could legitimately do something like
that could
an NWO type storyline.
Yes.
Not the NWO itself, but more of, honestly, you're gonna hate this comparison. They could just be the Death Riders of WWE.
No, I don't hate that idea. So, but that's
like,
kind of like
it.
That's kind
They're
of what
the Death
I'm saying,
Riders
though.
of WWE.
Yeah, because it's like Drew still feels this way about Punk, and like I've said, it's a lot of this has not gone away with Roman either.
It's
and
not
Drew made a really good point with that video package of Roman on SmackDown. This motherfucker has not changed at all. He's not wrong. He basically was like, oh yeah, you guys will all acknowledge me, blah blah blah. Like, he's saying the same shit that he used to say, but now we're supposed to take it differently because he's presenting himself a little bit differently. But what he's saying and what he believes, what's in his mind and what's in his heart is the same stuff. But he came back and was going against Solo, so we're Team Roman. No, brother, that's the same dude. That's the same dude.
It's all subjective. It's amazing.
So that's what I'm saying. It's the same. Like, you could say the same thing about Punk. Is Punk really changed? He's saying it. He's doing things that
he's not here to make friends. He's here to make money. All right,
so that's what I'm saying. This could be really good, and it could be one of those things where I like when we were talking about the Punk and Seth thing and how it would be interesting for WWE to kind of make Punk the good guy in the situation because he was so anti WWE for a long time. And then them choosing to make him the good guy in that scenario would be wild. That feels like that would be a very similar situation to have Drew, Rollins, and KO on the same team, because it isn't that they're necessarily anti-WWE, but they are in their own way because of the actions of people in the company, So, because they're definitely like WWE mostly diehards. We know that specifically with Kevin and Rollins because they've expressed that multiple times. I think Drew would be too if his circumstances were different. But
yeah, if he didn't get released.
Yeah, so it's not the same as what Punk was thinking or saying, but I think that there's a way to go about it.
I am intrigued. I just can't stop thinking of them three just walking around, just beating people up.
Yes.
And just been like Kevin Owens has the title, and Cody's like, give me back my championship. Like, no, this is mine.
We're gonna get Summer of Punk, but it's gonna be the winter of Kevin. That's what it's gonna be.
The winter
Um,
cabin.
So Chrome Knuckle says, I've been begging for a heel Rollins for ages. Drew is possibly the best heel of 2024. Agreed. KO is awesome with his feud against Cody. Their faction would rock 100%. Kevin, if this keeps going, I think he could be the heel of 2025. I know it's still early, but if he's going to be this good already, because to me, Drew in my book is the
Drew is
superstar of
the
the
heel.
year. Superstar of the year.
Oh, all
2024.
right. Little tease.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll get back to the comments. We appreciate all the comments today, guys. It helps, bring up
Helps cut
other
us.
ideas and stuff. So,
Yeah.
we got to see Ludwig Kaiser take on Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship,
God,
and
I
boy,
love
oh
Braun
boy,
Breaker. I love Braun Breaker.
I love Ludwig Kaiser.
Okay.
So this was like a 2 or 3 commercial break match. They really
got time.
They got time in the title matches, which was very nice. And this was just another example of Kaiser being exactly who I've been saying he was. And I'm just glad that they're giving him this opportunity. Obviously, he was in a match with Braun Breaker and it was good, and it would be because of who he was in a match with. But yeah, I don't really know where they go from here, but at least Kaiser is getting established in that scene where he could be like a credible mid-card champion.
That's where they go from here, is elevating Kaiser. That's all this match did. And Braun Breaker, it strengthened his title reign. He's still the beast that's going to
the
hold
beast
that
in the
thing.
East. I'm just kidding.
I mean, last night he was the beast in the East. And he's just gonna spear people left and right, be a monster. They need to build him up to just be a force that someone that I don't know. He's been good. He's crushed it. And like Kaiser, I just don't see anything more coming from this because he already lost. Like I see him doing something else.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they pivot because they were teasing this drama with Gunther. And it's like, are they going to touch on that more? Are they going to explore that more? Are they going to put him in like qualifying matches so he gets another intercontinental title match? Like, are they going to have him feud with somebody who's going to be going after the title? Like, what are they going to do? Kind of like what they did with Sheamus.
Yeah.
I don't really care at this point as long as he's on TV, and I'm glad that we're moving to 3 hours soon because that means that we'll get Kaiser on. Like
that is a huge, like that really is been an issue since this whole move. Is that when it went to 2 hours, you can feel it. You really do feel it.
And you know what? And it's like I know that we've kind of complained about it since it happened. And I'm not saying every single week was bad. It wasn't. There are weeks where the show went by super quickly, and like even though it wasn't fantastic, it was still watchable. I felt like this week the first hour dragged. The first hour just dragged on. So sometimes that happens with 3 hours too. I'm not saying it doesn't, but obviously not everybody can be on, or people who have had been on TV every single week are not able to now. So I'm excited when they get back to 3 hours that we'll be seeing a lot more. And Kaiser is one of them that we will probably be seeing a lot more. No, Curvin, you're just a hater of everything I like. Curvin,
no,
hates.
I'm okay with this. Let's give him a shot.
No, he cannot be over there when his former buddy Vinci is over there struggling, trying not to choke on a salad and catering. Stop.
Well, maybe he gets over to SmackDown and then they start feuding.
No,
that would make sense.
No,
they can.
I know. I said this because it went over his head. It went over your head. I believe it was in reference to Brock Lesnar when they went to Japan, but that went over your head. The Beast in the East.
I do. Didn't he fight Kofi there too?
I honestly, I don't remember.
I'm like 90% sure he fought Kofi Kingston in Japan.
They fucked?
Fought, but
oh, I thought you said fucked.
No,
I could have swore they.
No, I said fought. Like it was a WWE Network special.
That's why I was just checking with you. I was like, really? You just casually dropping that? What do you know about that we don't?
I am a vault.
they don't need to be on the same show just because they're dating. That's not a thing. They live together. Vinci going back to NXT might be a good thing, honestly. Go have him go back to the original gimmick he had.
Yeah, like, can we not have Eddie Thorpe competing for a goddamn NXT championship?
That
I'm
is
over him.
I'm sorry, but that's such a horrible name. He also looks like a really he looks like a caw that was created by like a 14-year-old boy that like thought that's what a cool wrestler looks like. That's like what it looks like to me.
Ethan Page looks miserable, but anyways.
Well, he's supposed to be miserable, isn't he?
Yeah, I think Josh Alexander's coming soon to save the day.
All right. Well, anyway, the New Day continue to bring out the worst in people, apparently, because they are not interested in them being around whatsoever. So they try to show up and get to the locker room, and they are met by little teeny tiny Rey Mysterio. And he says, nope, you guys can't come in here. You can't, none of us want to be around you. Obviously, Xavier and Kofi are not into it, but that is the reality that they are dealing with. So I like what they're doing. I think that it's I think it's the best way to go about what they're doing because they don't have Big E on TV every week, if at all. So it kind of limits what Kofi and Xavier can really do to further whatever they're trying to do with this heel turn, because obviously the dude that they're feuding with is not there.
Yeah.
And we don't know what the end game is. I think that we both agreed that we think it means that Big E will be coming back and able to wrestle just based on what they said in the reunion segment, and it felt like, okay, this feels like an inevitable return is happening because they didn't have to go to this level just to have them turn. Like they could have done other things to get heat on them, but they wanted to get them like super hated right away. And it's working. Like the New Day can't go anywhere without people talking shit. Like
No, they were
they
yelling at
hate
fans last night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were really getting into it with fans outside the arena.
Mm-hmm.
Like Xavier was talking mad shit. Then you had Kofi just being like, "What's up?" Like he's got that stern look. He's not doing a lot of talking yet, but he's got that look like, "Don't fuck with me."
I thought it was funny when Kofi said too, he's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on with Cody Rhodes. And, you know, he said he was so disappointed in us. And he's like, he said that he couldn't believe that we did that to Big E. And then what happens a week later, then he hurts his spine. And I was like, oh my God, let's not pretend that that's a real thing. Okay. Because that is kind of eerie that they did that. Obviously it's storyline, but I'm like, oh God. But yeah, so I am curious to see how they're going to keep this going and how long maybe they'll keep Big E out of it, because you assume that they're going to have to bring him back in at some point. It's not just going to be every week. The wrestlers are like, you can't hang with us. You can't sit at our table.
I mean, Netflix debut is
that's true. We need to see them in a match. I want to see heel New Day in a match. Like now that they're getting like super hated. I want to hear new music. I want to see their new gear. I need new music. I need to see the difference in how they wrestle. You know, I'm here for it.
There's so many avenues they can go with the new music. So,
and I'm really glad that it's going as well as it is, because we were skeptical. I mean, granted, we were talking about the idea of one of them turning heel. But we were still kind of like, are people going to boo them? I think that this might be the only way for them to be consistently hated, and that was to go against Big E. I think if they tried to do something else, it wouldn't be as big of a deal as it is right now. But anyway, moving on to the WWE showed a little trailer mini vignette type of thing, and it was just like a red 0 crossed out 0, and people were like, what does this mean? Who is this? And it's funny because my immediate thought was like War Raiders, and then I was like, oh, they're already here. Like,
it's like the antlers with all.
Yeah, because it looked like theirs, and I was like, wait a second, no.
Veer is coming.
Yeah. Veer is coming. He's still coming. He's still coming.
Okay.
He won't stop coming. Okay, anyway, so the internet has decided that it is Penta. They are teasing Penta because we know that he is, at least we believe, according to dirt sheets. I don't know that we've seen anything official yet. He's still on AEW's website, but the rumors have said he is gone from AEW. His brother does not have that
Not so
fortunate luck.
much. I have a TikTok. I don't know about that.
Yeah. And I get why people are jumping to that conclusion. I think it's the only thing that makes sense based off what we've seen so far. So that's why I'm like, I'm not even going to entertain the idea of it being somebody else because it was like a 10-second video of a red zero. Like, there's nothing from that that you can be like, let me take a more educated guess. Like, no, there's nothing
No.
there other than a wrestler who has zero in his name. You know what I mean?
Just for an FYI for anyone who doesn't follow AEW, Jose the assistant is his manager, and like that's who he's been doing Lucha Brothers with, all that over in AEW. He tweeted out the symbol. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
like
Okay, so that's not necessarily confirmation because you could also be trying to take advantage of the uptick in interest of
he
Penta
could, but
because of
still, I
that.
just want to put that out there.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. It's like kind of, I mean, it benefits them if it's him, if it's not him, because it's like it's piquing people's interest if it is him. So they're going to go follow him, or people who are like, maybe it's him. They're trying to figure out who it is. Who is this guy? You know what I mean? But if it is him, how do you feel about them bringing him in as like a singles?
Love it.
Do you think they would do that, or do you think they'd like immediately pair him with the stereotypical "go be with Rey Mysterio"?
No, I saw it. No, I did see a meme of someone taking the slash that's through the O, and then they made LWO out of it. And
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
oh my god! But no, Penta is a wrestler who can go on his own. Like
Is he
he
a
should
cruiserweight?
be. No,
Oh, okay.
like he could be. He's a luchador, but like
You know, technically Finn is a cruiserweight.
that is crazy to think.
205. He's 190.
I mean, yeah, but
That's why it
Penta
was
is
funny
someone
when
who
McAfee said he was 220. It was like,
Penta is someone who can go in the ring and be in, like, he would be a serious contender for the Intercontinental Championship. You know, he would be someone that you wouldn't think would elevate it, but he would put on some banger matches with guys from Sami Zayn to Gunther. I mean, Gunther has said on record that the hardest chop he ever received was from Pentagon. So,
by the way,
I want to see him.
he's 207.
Oh, so
he's only 2 pounds over. Yeah,
Penta
so
was a single talent.
yeah, that's why I was saying, do you think that just because recent people are going to know him as a tag team guy with his brother? So that's why I was saying, do you think they'd bring him in? Because the assumption was that they were going to bring the Lucha Brothers to WWE and that they were going to be a tag team. So
which they still could.
Well, they could, but we've not really seen that before. So that'll be fun. I feel like if Ray does eventually come, because then it's like, oh, how do they present this? You know, like maybe it's going to be a situation where Penta needs help, and he's like, let me go find my trusted friend, brother guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that. But we'll have to see what they show next week and whatever. This could be something where maybe he debuts at the Netflix debut.
That's what I wanted to get to. Thank you, Sarah, because Chronological first Raw on Netflix, New Day versus Rey Mysterio and a mystery partner, and it's Pentagon, because Rey and Pentagon fought against each other and with each other when Rey was in Lucha Underground. So,
I love it. Love it. I feel bad for Dragon Lee, though. He's the newest masked guy to be thrown to the side for a different masked guy.
So no, but then they're going to feud. Oh, it's the cycle repeats.
Yeah, it's going to be the masked man luchador vortex. Maybe they'll make a trio.
No, we leave them. Maybe we leave that one in the leave that one aside.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully. Anyway, moving on to Before they get to the Women's Intercontinental Championship tourney with Raquel Rodriguez in it, Raquel comes out with Daddy Dom and Liv, and of course Liv. I am obsessed with Liv. She gets on the mic, talks about how great she is, but she brings out a megaphone too to let y'all biatches
That was
know.
great touch. Great touch.
I loved that. And she, of course, is eventually interrupted by Rhea Ripley, who lets her know that she is officially the number one contender for the Women's World Championship and doesn't specify when that match is going to happen. So one would assume it's not happening at the debut, which I think they have to be careful, obviously, because they already have quite a few matches scheduled
They
for the
do.
Netflix debut
They do
and
already.
not short ones. That's the thing. You don't anticipate Punk and Seth to be short. You don't anticipate Roman versus Solo in a tribal combat match to be short. You know what I mean? So, like, they have to be really careful with how much they're putting on the show, assuming that it's only going to be a max of 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that they don't do on Raw. Maybe they save it for Royal Rumble.
I feel like, yeah, I would be a fan of this being at the Royal Rumble. I
Mhm.
don't think it needs to be done right away at the Netflix debut.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, we're gonna get this done at the debut, and it's finally out of this feud and whatever." It's like, no, like there's so much more that needs to go into the story just for the fact that there's time and there's other stuff going on where you can do backstage stuff or little interactions here and there, and it does the job for the week.
Yeah, we need to see more development in this storyline. Like, I know that a lot of people are sick of it at this point, but I do think that there wasn't proper care and attention put into this feud from the beginning. I
Wasn't.
don't think it was necessarily valid, the complaints that people are having about how involved Dom was from the beginning, because I think that he was the center of this story. The whole reason that this was happening was because of Dom, because Dom turned on Rhea. He left Rhea for Liv,
He's
you
the
know,
purpose of
like,
this whole story.
huh?
He's the purpose. He
Yeah.
is the focal point of this feud, really.
Yeah, so that's why I think at the beginning it made sense. But now I think that they've had a couple matches since then, obviously tag team and singles. I think that they need to get to a point where it's the focus is back to Liv and
Mm-hmm.
Rhea, and we need to see proper development there, because then I think people will get checked back in again. Like, people might be checked out, but I mean, Liv had probably one of the best matches of the year for her against
Oh
Io.
yeah.
So we know that she can hang. And yeah, so I want to see that happen for Liv, because obviously Rhea doesn't need any extra help, but Liv does. So we'll see. I see people in the chat saying that they could do it on the January 25th Saturday night's main event, which
Yeah, that would make sense too.
I
I
don't
I
hate
don't mind
that
that. I
idea.
hate that.
And it could be a title change. I don't know if I love that happening, but
No,
not
she
for
needs to
Liv.
keep it. No, she needs to keep it till Mania, and
I know,
then
but people don't want that. That's the thing.
it's not about what the people want sometimes.
I know, but you know. Anyway, so then we get to the women's intercontinental title tourney, which was Kaden Carter versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Zoe Stark. And let me tell you, I was completely shocked that Zoe Stark won this. Not because I
Was
didn't think she
too.
was capable. I thought they were going to
Mm.
try to throw something in there and it was going to be Raquel.
Oh no, that's easy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone thought Raquel because the whole live thing. Yeah, that makes
Yes.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Um and I mean, I think that that adds more to the Judgment Day story anyway, that she got eliminated, and then in the same night Finn and JD lost the tag title, so I feel like, okay, no, there's something going on there. And I think Zoe deserves it. I just think that she hasn't been on TV a lot recently. The whole PFC thing was a flop.
But Zoe's good. Like Zoe
She
is one
is,
of the
yeah.
more underutilized and appreciated women on the roster. A lot
Mhm.
of people critique her on her not having the personality that other female wrestlers do,
Mhm.
but she crushes it in the ring. I mean, last night's triple threat match was incredible performance by her. I was watching
Mhm.
highlights from it, and the shit she was doing, from the missile drop kick to a lot of like the transitions and stuff. Like, that's someone who can go in the ring, but the problem is it needs to also have a little bit of a character to it. But
Yeah.
she does, if you follow not her necessarily, but at least the WWE socials, where you see her doing those types of little segments to show her personality and show off her character that she doesn't have the time to
But
on
see,
regular television.
that's what I've said before is a problem though. Because like she is somebody that needs to be shown in that light on TV because
Yes.
not everybody pays attention to what WWE posts on social media, or they don't have social media so they can't, you know what I mean? So like there are so many people who watch wrestling, live and die by what they see on TV. If it's not on TV, they don't know what's happening. So this is one of those situations where I feel like yeah, we need to see what she's doing. We need to see her personality there because otherwise a lot of people don't have any clue what's going on.
No
Um,
idea,
but I think
unfortunately.
given who's left in the tournament, it makes sense that she's there. Obviously, I think it's going to come down to Lyra and who's the other one?
Dakota Kai.
Dakota Kai. Yeah.
I think Dakota Kai should win it, honestly.
I think so too. People are acting like she's a heel. She's not a heel. So, anyway. And then we can get to the main event, and then we can get to the comments because there's quite a few. It's hard to keep up right now. The main event was Judgment Day versus the War Raiders for the World Tag Team Championships. And I think everybody and their mother knew the War Raiders were going to win. You just knew. And
You just know.
I totally forgot about it. I think it was something I had like thought about earlier in the day, and then I forgot as the match was happening that of course Damien was going to get involved and make sure that Finn lost, and that's exactly what happened. So clearly that feud is going to be picking up, which that's fine with me because now Finn doesn't have the tag titles kind of like holding him down a little bit, and
Be
it's
his
not
singles
something that people can
competitor.
criticize him for getting into singles competition. So that we'll see what happens, but I am very happy for the War Raiders. I'm very happy for Ivar getting to do that in his home area. I don't know if it's his hometown. I know he's
He's from
from.
Mass.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know if he's from Boston. Is all I meant.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's exciting. I think my only concern is how long are people going to care? That's the
Well,
thing.
this is my thing. I saw a report that after the War Raiders win, that they're going to make the tag titles more of a focal point.
They need to.
Which, here's the thing, they already were doing that on SmackDown. Did you
Mm-hmm.
see when they went from one champion of a faction to the other, and now the tag team division on SmackDown's has life again?
It's
That's
just
what they're doing with Raw, but you need to build the tag teams on Raw. Like, who the hell is on Raw that would be a legitimate contender other than the New Day to the
I
War
mean,
the War Raiders?
well, and I think yeah, because we've praised what they've done on SmackDown. I guess the only thing that bums me out is like Finn and JD were perfectly capable of being that team on Raw and like lifting up the tag team division. They just didn't let them, like what the Judgment Day have been doing didn't circle around Finn or JD, so it didn't really make sense that they only got 3 title defenses for how
No.
long they were champion. Because like everything had been about Liv and Dom, and then you brought in Raquel, and it was Rhea and Damien. It was like it didn't really have that much to do with Finn other than obviously him wanting to make sure that Damien lost. But I don't know. It's just kind of a shame to me because my rant is that I'm tired of people associating the Judgment Day's lack of title defenses as some sort of knock on how talented JD and Finn are. That makes no sense. There's no correlation there. They have no responsibility in how many times they defend their titles or not. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just so annoying that the internet is that dumb that they put it all together and then yeah, Finn sucks, JD sucks. I can't believe they never defended the title. Please explain to me how any of that makes sense.
It doesn't, unfortunately, Sarah.
I'm like, have you watched J? Okay, I know that I'm biased with Finn Balor, but
Just a little
there are
bit.
people that can really tell me that JD McDonough is not a good wrestler.
He's a fantastic wrestler. He used to, people forget, JD McDonough was feuding with Ilya over on NXT
He's
before they got
incredible.
called up. And was those were good feuds. I was early days, or my earlier days of when I got back into NXT. And like
Mhm.
Ilya, JD, Carmelo. I mean, was it Carmelo? Was he the third guy? I forget. But it was definitely Ilya and JD, and they were putting on banger matches.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like we get to see that when JD's in the ring. So I don't know. I think people are just, as I've said before, people have a hard time giving credit to any wrestler that is not considered a good guy. They like it like prevents them from being able to credit them for being a good talker, a good wrestler, a good whatever, because it's like, oh, I'm supposed to hate them. Well, that doesn't mean they suck because you hate them. That doesn't make any sense. That's like being a 5-year-old. That doesn't.
Basically what minds of wrestling fans are sometimes.
Yeah, I really
Unfortunately.
do think so. Yeah, JD McDaddy. Oh my god, I said that about him to there's a group chat with me and two of my coworkers, and I refer to him as JD McDaddy, and they started like cracking up because I guess I had never said it to them, and I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Nah, there you go. You gotta laugh.
I was like, I'm sorry. That's just
You
it's
were
just
you
his name.
you were marking out over him at
I was
Mania.
obsessed. That was when I became obsessed. I was like, this is a guy that I can fuck with.
Witnessed it.
Okay. It's JD McDaddy. Okay. When I saw him flip the double birds to a fan, he stole my heart that night. That's when he earned that nickname, you know? Um, last woman standing between Liv and Rhea.
That would be good. I'd
That
be a
would be
fan of that.
sick. I like that because I feel like that evens the odds a little bit, you
Oh
know?
yeah.
Because people have such an issue with Liv being so much smaller than Rhea, and then when you look at them just like standing next to each other, there's no way that Liv could beat her. But in a match that has no disqualifications, she can do whatever the heck she wants. And we haven't seen a last woman standing match in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute since we saw one. I can't remember the last time that we had.
Was it NXT?
Yeah, it was Becky. Oh
No, that was it?
no, who was last one? It was NXT though.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's like an Iron Woman match. We haven't seen
Yeah,
that, I think, since Bailey Sasha.
we haven't seen that match. Yeah.
But I feel like that's like really high level to live up to. So I almost don't know if I'd want that match if I were somebody, you know.
I don't know either.
No, I think that if they were going, let's say if they did that at Mania, right? Or if they did it before Mania, let's say they did it at the Royal Rumble or something. I think they would try to make sure that Liv didn't get help. Liv didn't get help at Saturday Night's main event. And she was against
She
not a
won.
chump wrestler in Io Sky.
Some might say the best wrestler in the world.
Yeah.
Best women's.
So she's proven that she can do it. I mean, she almost broke her nose also. So
Yeah, that was a stiff hit.
I
That was a
know. And it was
stiff hit.
definitely an accident, but still, I'm
Yeah,
kind of
I mean,
surprised. It's funny because I understand completely how badly that probably hurt because when my nephew was like 2, he headbutt me in the nose. I thought he broke my nose. Like
oh,
it hurt
I
so
can
bad.
feel it. I can
Mhm.
feel it. That shit still hurts.
I was terrified because I thought he broke it. I immediately just started crying. Like it wasn't even necessarily because I had any control over the crying. It was like my body was like, "Ow, this hurts." So
Oh,
I'm
you
like,
have nothing else to do
yeah.
but
So
just
I'm
let
like,
it
I took a
out.
headbutt to the nose. She took a knee to the nose. It feels pretty similar to me. So I'm like, the fact that she just kept going and you wouldn't have even known, really, is pretty incredible, I think.
That is kind of wild. Wow.
But anyway, that was Raw.
That was raw. And that's
Oh, and we want to make sure we'll be here on Thursday. So I want to make
will
sure we
be
don't.
on Thursday.
We're going to do a best of 2024. That is going to be the super show this week. So we'll do our normal thing, obviously. And if there's
Yeah, to
any like
start it,
big
obviously.
breaking news, we'll talk about that. But we wanted to talk about the year in review. because I think that there was a lot of good that came out of the first official year of Triple H's WWE.
Yes.
And then, of course, there's a lot that you can talk about with AEW. So we're going to do that on Thursday. And then we're going to try to figure out what we're going to do next week, because obviously there's Christmas, and then not long after that is New Year's. So we'll update you guys on that. But yeah, so Thursday will be a best of 2024. I'm excited. I'm really going to have to go down and like think about who I'm picking.
I know I'm going to have to go through and figure it out.
Yeah.
Go down the lab and watch some shit. Maybe hit up my boys at Cultaholic and What Culture to help me out. Who knows? Who knows? But until then, thank you guys for tuning in to this edition of the Raw Rewind. Hit that subscribe button and bell notification to know every time we go live and post. And then follow us on TikTok, No Nights Off Show. And then there's also links down below for our personal social media channels as well. So until Thursday, get your best ofs ready, because we'll have ours ready. Thanks for tuning in. God bless. Remember, you could do it. All you got to do is try. See you Thursday. Yes.